I am holding the last key to my house in my hand right now, and I cannot decide if I feel relieved or heartbroken. 5 years ago, I dreamed about owning a place like this. I worked overtime, skipped vacations, and saved every dollar I could just to make it happen. I thought this house would be where my family gathered, where we supported each other, where love lived. But somewhere along the way, everything went wrong. My sister Amber called me a freeloader while living under the roof I paid for. That one sentence broke something inside me, and it led to the decision I am about to tell you about. Before I tell you how it all went down, I want to know where you are watching this from. Drop your location in the comments below. If you have ever dealt with ungrateful family members, hit that like button and subscribe, because this story has a twist you will not see coming. Now, let me take you back to where this whole mess started. Let me give you some background first. My name is Jerry, and I work as a construction manager. For 5 solid years, I poured everything I had into buying my own home. I am talking about working 12-hour days, sometimes 14. I took on freelance projects on weekends. I did not go out to bars with friends. I did not take fancy trips. Every single paycheck went into my savings account because I had one goal. I wanted a house. Not just any house, but a real home with 3 bedrooms, a backyard, and a garage. A place I could call mine. When I finally signed those mortgage papers, I felt like I had won the lottery. I remember sitting in the lawyer's office holding that pen and thinking about how far I had come. This was not just a house. This was proof that hard work pays off. This was my sweat, and my sacrifice turned into something real. But my journey was not just about me. My sister Amber and I grew up close. We were always there for each other as kids. Then everything changed when I was 22 and she was 18. Our parents died in a car accident. One minute they were driving home from a grocery store, and the next minute they were gone. Just like that. No warning, no goodbye. After that, it became my responsibility to take care of Amber. She was still in high school when it happened. I was working a basic construction job back then, but I made it work. I paid for her to finish school. I helped her get into college. I made sure she had food, clothes, and a roof over her head. It was not easy, but she was my sister. She was all I had left of our family. Amber graduated from college with a degree in marketing. I was so proud of her. I thought she would find a good job and build a stable life. But things did not turn out that way. She bounced from one job to another. Nothing seemed to stick. She would get hired work for a few months, then quit or get fired. There was always some excuse. The boss was mean. The coworkers were toxic. The pay was too low. I tried to be supportive, but I started to worry. Then one night, about 6 months after I moved into my new house, my phone rang at 11:30. It was Amber, and she was crying so hard. I could barely understand her. She told me she had been evicted from her apartment. She had not paid rent in 3 months. On top of that, she had just lost her job at a marketing firm. She was desperate. She had nowhere to go. And then she asked if she and her boyfriend Kyle could stay with me for a few months. Just until she got back on her feet, she said. I felt a knot form in my stomach. But what could I say? This was my sister. The same person I had raised after our parents died. The same person I had sacrificed for. How could I say no? So I said yes. I told her she could stay in the guest room on the first floor. I made it clear this was temporary. Just a few months until you get back on your feet, I said. Amber promised she would start looking for work right away. She promised she would help with groceries and utilities. She promised she would not be a burden. I believed her because I wanted to believe her. The first week was fine. Amber and Kyle were polite. They kept to themselves. They cleaned up after themselves. I actually thought maybe this would work out. Maybe I was worrying for nothing. But by the second week, things started to change. Their stuff started spreading all over the house. Shoes in the hallway, jackets on my couch, dirty dishes left in the sink overnight. Kyle would stay up until 2 in the morning playing video games in the living room with the volume turned way up. I had to wake up at 6 for work, so you can imagine how that felt. I would come downstairs at 5:30 in the morning and find pizza boxes, empty soda cans, and chip bags all over the coffee table. Amber was not looking for work like she promised. Every time I came home, she was on the couch scrolling through her phone. When I asked her about job applications, she would say she sent out a few resumes but had not heard back. She always had an excuse ready. I tried to be patient. I reminded myself that she was going through a rough time. Losing a job and getting evicted is stressful. I told myself to give her some space and some time, but as the weeks went by, I started to feel like I was being taken advantage of. By the second month, things got worse. Amber and Kyle started inviting friends over without asking me. I would come home from a long day at work and find 5 or 6 people in my living room drinking my beer and eating my food. They acted like it was their house. Nobody even looked up to say hello when I walked in. The utility bills started going through the roof. My electric bill doubled because they were running the air conditioning 24 hours a day. They would leave lights on in every room. They would take hour-long showers. I was paying for everything, and they did not seem to care. One evening, I decided I had to say something. I sat Amber down at the kitchen table and told her we needed to talk. I explained that I was happy to help her, but things needed to change. She needed to start looking for work seriously. She and Kyle needed to contribute to groceries and bills. They needed to respect my space and my schedule. Amber did not take it well. She got defensive immediately. She said I did not understand what she was going through. She said I was being insensitive and selfish. She actually used the word selfish. I was shocked. Here I was letting her live in my house for free, and she was calling me selfish. I took a deep breath and tried to stay calm. I told her I was not trying to be mean. I just needed her to meet me halfway. She rolled her eyes and said she would try harder. But nothing changed. My best friend Marcus came over a few days later. He saw the state of the house and the way Amber and Kyle were acting. After they went upstairs, Marcus pulled me aside. "Bro, they are taking advantage of you," he said. I tried to defend Amber. I told him she was my sister, and she needed time. Marcus shook his head. "Do not let family guilt trap you," he said. "You have done more than enough." I knew Marcus was right, but I did not want to admit it. I kept hoping Amber would wake up and realize she needed to change. I kept hoping she would appreciate what I was doing for her. But that hope was about to get crushed. By the 4th month, the situation had become unbearable. Amber and Kyle were not just staying in my house anymore. They were taking it over. They treated the living room like their personal lounge. I could not even sit on my own couch after work because they were always there with their friends. One afternoon, I came home early from a job site. I walked into my bedroom and found the door wide open. I always kept it closed. I walked in and immediately noticed that things had been moved around. My dresser drawers were not closed all the way. My closet door was open. I felt a chill run down my spine. Later, I asked Amber about it. She casually told me that one of her friends needed to change clothes, so she let her use my room. She said it like it was no big deal. I was furious. That was my private space, my sanctuary, and she just let a stranger go through it without even asking me. But that was not even the worst part. A few days later, I got a notification on my phone from my bank. My credit card had been used for a purchase I did not make. I checked my account and saw a charge for $800 from an online store. My heart sank. I went back through my security camera footage. I had installed cameras a few months earlier, just to keep an eye on the house while I was at work. What I saw made my blood boil. The footage showed Amber going through my wallet while I was in the shower. She took my credit card, wrote down the numbers, and then put it back. I confronted her immediately. I showed her the footage. I asked her why she would steal from me. She did not even apologize. She just shrugged and said she thought I would not mind. "We are family," she said. She actually had the nerve to call me stingy when I asked her to pay me back. I told her she needed to return the items and give me the money. She refused. She said she did not have the money, and that was why she was living with me in the first place. That was when Kyle decided to get involved. He stood up and told me not to talk to her like that. I could not believe it. This guy was living in my house rent-free, and he was telling me how to talk to my own sister. I lost it. I told him this was my house, and he had no right to tell me anything. Amber looked shocked. "Oh, so now you are throwing that in my face," she said. I did not even know what to say. I just walked away before I said something I would regret. But the final straw came the following weekend. I had been at a construction site all morning, dealing with a difficult client. I was exhausted. All I wanted was to come home, take a shower, and relax. But when I walked through the door, I heard laughter and music coming from the kitchen. Amber was having a little party with 5 or 6 of her friends. They were sitting around my kitchen table, eating food I had bought, drinking drinks I had paid for. They were laughing and having a great time. I stood in the doorway for a moment, just watching. Then one of Amber's friends asked her a question. "This is a nice place. Whose house is this?" I expected Amber to say it was mine, but instead she laughed and said something I will never forget. "Oh, it is my brother's house," she said. "But honestly, he is kind of a freeloader himself." Everyone laughed. My heart stopped. Amber kept talking. "He barely does anything around here," she said. "I am the one keeping this place together." One of her friends looked confused. "Wait, does not he own the house?" Amber shook her head and smiled. "Technically, yes," she said. "But I do all the real work. He just pays the mortgage like it is some big deal." I felt like I had been punched in the stomach. I could not breathe. I could not move. I just stood there in the doorway trying to process what I had just heard. My sister, the person I had sacrificed everything for, had just called me a freeloader in my own house. The house I worked 5 years to buy. The house I was letting her live in for free. I finally found my voice. "What did you just say?" I asked. My voice was shaking. Amber turned around and saw me standing there. Her face went pale. "Oh, you are home early," she said, trying to act casual. Everyone at the table went silent. I walked into the kitchen and looked her straight in the eye. "Did you just call me a freeloader?" I asked. In the house I paid for, Amber tried to backtrack. She said she was just joking around. But I was done. I was done with the excuses. I was done with the disrespect. I was done with everything. I told her I had had enough. I told her exactly what I thought. "I pay the mortgage," I said. "I pay the utilities. I pay for the groceries. What do? You make messes and complain." Amber got defensive. She said she cleaned up sometimes. I laughed. "You make the mess in the first place," I said. Kyle stood up and tried to step in. "Hey man, calm down," he said. I turned to him. "You do not even pay rent," I said. "You have no right to talk." He looked stunned. Then I made my decision. I looked at Amber and said the words I had been holding back for months. "You know what? I have had enough. You have 2 weeks to find another place. This is my house. I am not a freeloader. You are." Amber's mouth dropped open. "You cannot kick me out," she said. "I am your sister." I looked at her and said 2 words. "Watch me." Then I turned around, walked upstairs to my bedroom, and locked the door behind me. I sat on my bed shaking. I was furious. I was heartbroken. I could not believe my own sister had said those things about me. After everything I had done for her, after all the sacrifices I had made. But in that moment, I knew I had made the right decision. I could not let her treat me like this anymore. The next morning, I woke up with a clear head and a firm resolve. I was not going to back down. I called my lawyer, Mr. Thompson, who specialized in real estate. I explained the situation to him. He told me I had every legal right to ask Amber and Kyle to leave. Since they did not have a lease and were not paying rent, they were considered guests. But he advised me to do it the right way to avoid any legal trouble down the line. Mr. Thompson told me to give them a written 30-day notice. I agreed. I wanted to do everything by the book. I was not going to give Amber any ammunition to use against me. After I got off the phone with the lawyer, I spent the rest of the day gathering evidence. I went through all the security camera footage and saved every clip that showed Amber and Kyle being disrespectful or destructive. I took photos of the messes they had left around the house. I printed out my credit card statements, showing the unauthorized charges. I saved text messages and emails. I built a complete file just in case I needed it. Then I sat down and wrote the 30-day notice. I kept it professional and straightforward. I stated that they had 30 days to vacate the property. I listed the reasons, including the unauthorized use of my credit card, the lack of contribution to household expenses, and the repeated disrespect. I sent the notice via email and also printed out a hard copy. I made sure to copy my lawyer so there would be a record. Amber read the notice and immediately went into attack mode. She did not apologize. She did not try to make things right. Instead, she picked up her phone and started calling every relative we had. She called our aunt, our uncle, our cousins. She told them I was kicking her out onto the street. She painted herself as the victim and me as the villain. Within hours, my phone started ringing. My aunt called me first. "How can you do this to your own sister?" she demanded. "Your parents would be so disappointed in you." I tried to explain my side, but she did not want to hear it. She just kept repeating that family should stick together no matter what. Then my uncle called. He was even worse. He yelled at me for 10 minutes straight, calling me heartless and cruel. He said I should be ashamed of myself. I listened to him rant, and when he finally stopped to take a breath, I calmly told him he did not know the whole story. He hung up on me. I felt guilty for about an hour. These were people I respected, people I loved, and they were all telling me I was wrong. But then Marcus called me. He had heard about what was happening. "Do not let them manipulate you," he said. "You know the truth. Stand your ground." That was when I decided to send an email to the entire family. I laid out everything that had happened. I attached the security footage of Amber taking my credit card. I included screenshots of my bank statements showing the unauthorized charges. I attached photos of the messes they had made. I explained how I had supported Amber for months without asking for anything in return, and how she had repaid me by calling me a freeloader in my own home. After I sent the email, things got quiet. A few relatives reached out to apologize. They said they had not known the full story. They said they understood why I had to do what I did. But most of the family just went silent. They did not apologize, but they also stopped calling me to complain. Amber and Kyle, meanwhile, refused to leave. They acted like nothing had happened. They stayed in the house and continued their routine. But I did not engage with them. I did not speak to them, unless absolutely necessary. I just counted down the days until the 30-day notice expired. On the morning of day 30, I was ready. I had hired a moving company and a security team. At 8 in the morning, they arrived at my house. I had already packed up all of Amber and Kyle's belongings into boxes and bags. I had placed everything outside on the front lawn. Amber and Kyle woke up to the sound of people moving around outside. They came downstairs and saw their stuff piled up by the curb. Amber looked at me with wide eyes. "You cannot do this," she said. Her voice was shaking. I looked at her calmly. "I can, and I am," I said. "You had 30 days. Kyle tried to act tough. "We will call the cops," he said. I pulled out my phone and showed him the legal documents. "Go ahead," I said. "I have all the paperwork." The security team stood beside me, silent but present. Amber started crying. She begged me to change my mind. "Please, Jerry, I am sorry," she said through tears. "I did not mean what I said. I promise I will change." But I had heard those promises before. I had given her chance after chance. I was done. "You had your chance," I told her. "You had multiple chances. You disrespected me in my own home. I am done." Kyle glared at me with pure hatred in his eyes, but he did not say anything. He knew he had no power here. Eventually, one of Amber's friends showed up with a car. Amber and Kyle loaded their stuff into the vehicle. Amber was still crying. Kyle was still glaring. But I did not move. I did not waver. I watched them drive away, and as their car disappeared down the street, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. The first thing I did after they left was change all the locks. I called a locksmith and had every lock in the house replaced within 2 hours. Then I hired a professional cleaning service to deep clean the entire place. They scrubbed every surface, vacuumed every carpet, and washed every window. It cost me about $1,500, but it was worth every penny. I wanted to erase every trace of them. The first week after Amber left was strange. The house felt too quiet. I kept expecting to hear Kyle's video games blaring from the living room or Amber's voice on the phone, but there was nothing, just silence. And for the first time in months I realized how much I had missed that silence. I could come home from work and actually relax. I could sit on my couch without finding someone else's stuff all over it. I could eat my own food without worrying that someone else had already devoured it. I could sleep through the night without being woken up by noise at 2 in the morning. It was my house again, my space, my sanctuary. During the first month I started redecorating. I bought new furniture that I actually liked. I painted the living room a different color. I hung up pictures that meant something to me. I turned the guest room into a home office. Every change I made felt like I was reclaiming my space. Marcus came over one weekend, and we spent the whole day watching football and eating pizza. It felt good. It felt normal. It felt like how life was supposed to be. "You did the right thing," Marcus said during halftime. "I know it was hard, but you did what you had to do." I nodded. I knew he was right. Through the family grapevine, I heard bits and pieces about what was happening with Amber. She was staying with a friend, but it was not going well. Kyle had broken up with her and moved back in with his parents. Amber had to get a part-time job at a retail store to pay for her expenses. Life was not easy for her. 3 months after I kicked her out, I got a text message from Amber. It was long. She apologized for everything. She said she had been selfish and ungrateful. She said she understood why I had to do what I did. She said she was working on herself and trying to become a better person. She thanked me for everything I had done for her over the years, even though she had never appreciated it at the time. I read the message several times. Part of me wanted to forgive her immediately, but another part of me was still hurt. I thought about everything she had said and done. I thought about how she had called me a freeloader in my own house. I thought about how she had stolen from me and shown no remorse. I decided to respond, but I kept it short. "I appreciate the apology," I wrote. "I need time. I did not know if Amber and I would ever have the relationship we used to have. Maybe someday if she truly changed. But for now I needed space. I needed to focus on myself and my own life. Looking back on everything I learned, some important lessons. I learned that loving someone does not mean letting them walk all over you. I learned that family is not an excuse to accept disrespect. I learned that setting boundaries is not selfish. It is necessary. It is healthy. It is survival. I do not regret my decision to kick Amber out. I gave her every opportunity to change. I supported her when she needed help. But when she crossed the line, I had to stand up for myself. And I am proud of that. I do not know what the future holds for me and Amber. Maybe one day we will rebuild our relationship. Maybe we will never be as close as we once were. But right now I am okay with that. I am focusing on my own happiness and my own peace of mind. Sometimes the people we love the most are the ones who hurt us the deepest. But loving yourself enough to walk away is not selfish. It is survival. And maybe, just maybe, it is the wake-up call they need to finally grow up. I am sitting on my couch right now in my house, looking out the window. The sun is setting, and everything feels calm. This house represents 5 years of hard work, 5 years of sacrifice. And now, for the first time since I bought it, it truly feels like mine. So let me ask you something. Have you ever had to cut off a family member because they were taking advantage of you? How did you handle it? Drop your answer in the comments below, because I would love to hear your stories. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. And if you have not already, subscribe so you do not miss future stories like this one. Share this video with someone who might need to hear it. Sometimes we all need a reminder that it is okay to put ourselves first. Thank you so much for watching and for listening to my story. I hope it helped you in some way. Remember, you deserve respect, even from family, especially from family. Take care of yourselves, set those boundaries, and never let anyone make you feel guilty for protecting your peace. Until next time.